Greetings Traveler, this is Challenger. Today I am playing Diablo 2 Resurrected as a Warlock again, but this time I will test an actual build, that is a Demonologist Summoner, and it has won in a poll just slightly with melee variant. I am already wondering how good it is compared to already established summoners like Necromancer or Druid. I am pumped as the class is super powerful and very fun to play. So let the challenge begin. Rules. Playing as Demonologist Warlock, utilizing mostly summons to do my bidding. Run ends with killing Bale on Hell. Using charms and sockets. This is solo self-found, no shirt stash used. This is hardcore run, 1 life, no deaths. Warlock starts with a dagger that gives him access to Miasma Bolt. That is a magic damage dealing bolt that leaves Miasma to deal further damage. I will be using none of that. In my last video I spammed plenty of it and I am not sick of it, but it definitely calls for a change and trying something new. First skill and summon from Demon Tree that is available is Summon Goatman, that has a 5% chance for Crushing Blow that can be further increased by investing in Deathmark. He is a frontline bruiser that is a great stepping stone for more to come. With my new friend under my command, we cleansed the land from the evil and I took another skill, passive this time, Demonic Mastery, which provides increased attack rating, attack speed, damage and run speed for demons. At a certain ranks, it also allows to control more demons at the same time. This already feels very much different from other summoners, where Necro has his swarm of skeletons pretty early on, and Druid can easily rely on Ravens or even Poison Creeper. Warlock here does not have another demon until level 12. But now another passive, Blood Oath. It increases demons' life, resistances, it reduces physical damage that they take, and some damage I will take goes to them. Incredible. The skills that really sets apart Warlock from other summoners are skills in the middle of the tree. For now I have access to Deathmark. It teleports demon to an enemy which he attacks. It also debuffs the target to take more normal and magic damage, and reduces their defense, so they will be easier to hit. This means that Warlock is first and the only class, so far at least, that can manipulate his summons to do exactly what is needed without using a teleport itself, which is something that we have been asking Blizzard for years, and now boys and girls, we got it to some extent. Before moving to Monastery, let's get me some runes, so I will make stealth armor later on, in the next act. As you know, faster run walk is still amazingly good for any character. Another skill, this time from Chaos Tree, Sigil Lethargy. It creates a mark on the ground that reduces attack and walk speed of the monsters, but also increases damage taken by them and reduces their defense. Perfect way to further debuff the opponents. I also happen to find this Sled Light Belt, which is Arctic Binding, with massive 40% cold resistance. Level 12 brings me another helper, Summon Tainted, that deals fire damage and he provides fire resistant aura to the party. More importantly, he actually shoots fireballs from his mouth. That is so cool. As much as I like that summon, so far it's simply not very powerful. That is mostly because of the lack of levels, so fight against Andariel was rather clunky. I had to summon him multiple times and the only saving grace is the fact that she is not very resistant to fire. I could have run with Rogue Mercenary, but I have rather someone in front. But Aura, that is a different thing. Blessed Aim is not really useful now. Prayer has a negligible effect, so I opted for Defiance this time with Jamali. We went down to the sewers and with the additional skill point from the book, I am able to get enough points into Demonic Mastery to have 2 demons now. I figured that at this stage I rather have more bodies than a singular more powerful monster. Since I did not port any of my characters to this version, I am basically starting Grail anew, so I am picking everything. This is Set Ring that dropped, Katan's Seal, is the newest thing in my collection. It seems it was the right call. Both demons are getting teleported with Bloodmark and there is always pressure on them. especially that Goatman and my Spearman are working in front, while Tainted can pellet everything with fireballs. Normally this place for Summoner is a drag, but guess what? I don't have that many summons, meaning that they are not really in their way, and with Bloodmark I can reposition them to always be in front and attack the enemies. Pharaoh wasn't kind enough to give me a better base, so Splint Mail had to do for stealth, that I cannot really wear yet, but next level is good enough. Level 18 brings me my last summon spell, a Defiler. He can target enemies and bind them together so they will share the damage taken. This seems to be better at higher levels for pack clearing. Another skill is Blood Boil. This allows to generate a blast around summoned demons, dealing physical and fire damage in radius at cost of demon's life and my mana. That is brilliant, as it is directly influencing what you can do through summons instead of using complementary damage dealing spells. By complete accident, I also found out that you can have multiple demons of the same kind, as long as I have enough demonic mastery to support that. I was led to believe that there is only one option and you need to have one of each kind. Blast! Because of the Blood Boil and how taxing it is on demons, I decided to swap Mercenary to the one with Prayer Aura to at least help a little, as they have no self-sustain of their own. A Warlock, Spearman and 2 Goatmen walks into Talrasha's chamber. Warlock says, "I have a knife, let's gut him." Spearman says, "I have my pike, let's skewer him." 2 Goatmen says, "Bah." Anyway, here is a dead bug. With one fell swoop I managed to get both Jade Figurine and Eye of Khalim, without much looking for Spider's Cave, so that's nice. Also, catching monsters in Lethargy Seal really reminds me of playing the Witcher series and using Irden to slow and debuff monsters. Very similar. It seems that Tooltip doesn't mention this, but I can see that Goatmen, aside from having chance for Crushing Blow, they're also using some abilities, mainly Frenzy, Stun, Berserk and Cleave. That last one is from Warlock Arsenal. I am not sure if this is based on weapons they spawn with, similar to Valkyrie, or they are just innate. We raided the Ruined Temple for Lamb Essence Book for additional attribute points for me, and I found a unique two-handed sword, Shadowfang. Not the greatest weapon in the world, but it has some nice cold damage and double leech on it. Pretty good for early game. Not much to be said about the council. Goatmen at this stage are quite resilient, but the fact that there are only 2 of them makes this endeavor slower than competition. Then again, it's different playstyle. I'd say that having access to summons that has Crushing Blow from the very beginning is an enticing prospect, basically trivializing every boss fight as long as they are able to land few hits to trigger it, as you can see on Mephisto. He also dropped a set Chainmail, Angelic Mantle. There are a couple of different skills in other trees that I would like to get, as I think at least 1 point in each might be beneficial. But as it stands, I do not have a point to spend really, so killing Isuel to get another 2 seems like a reasonable idea. At level 24 I have access to Engorge. It provides demons additional life replenishment, defense, reduces physical damage taken by them, increases their attack speed and provides lifesteal. It also heals them by consuming a corpse, so this would be a tool for self-sustaining in battles. I did arrive at the forge and I must say that Goatmen with each level are becoming quite a menace. Especially now that I have ability to heal them, we squashed Hephaestus, and Hellforge dropped me a full rune, which I will for sure use later on. Diablo was quite annoying, mostly due to the fact that he can kill my summons very quickly, and it does not really matter if he is slowed by lethargy or not, as Firestorm and Lightning Breath are still doing insane amount of damage, but the whole fight was very safe and far from the hardest thing ever. What really interests me is how this build is going to be in a long term, as in the early game it is a bit worse, at least for me, than other summoners. I'm sorry I'm making this comparison, but it is simply unavoidable. I will also need whatever +2 skills I can get on equipment that is possible. Normally I am skipping quests in this act, except freeing Anya of course, but this time it was important to me to get to level 30 before fighting Bale, so I might as well do everything and not grind one spot over and over. So I was 1.5 levels short of level 30 before Ancients. So after the fight I should be about a half level to grind on my way to Throne of Destruction. That should be very possible to do. Anyway, Ancients are defeated. Now for the last 2 skills in the tree, and what might be the most interesting skill in the entire game. First, Bind Demon. It allows you to force any demon that is not a boss or mini-boss to be your servant, and it increases the damage, although chance to bind at the beginning is abysmal, but it will grow in time. Equally interesting is Consume, as with it I can sacrifice a demon for maximum life, run walk speed, but also based on what demon I am sacrificing, the additional bonuses are different. As you can see with Goatman, I can get Crushing Blow and Enhanced Damage, and Stygian Fury reduces physical damage taken for set time, so I can only imagine what other demons can provide, and possibilities are vast. If you've seen the preview for the Warlock, you already know this, but for those who didn't, you can bind Minions of Destruction. Moreover, you can bind Lister himself. Every elite that is a demon really, but this is especially funny in this context, since minions are the only monsters that you cannot revive with Necromancer's ability. That always really surprised me. It would be much easier of a fight if I just had 2 Goatmen at the ready, but I will not let Lister go as long as I can. This bastard will do my bidding until I will allow him to die. That said, Crushing Blow would just end this fight instantly. At least I can keep focusing Bale with my minions thanks to Deathmark. I finished normal with level 30 with just 1 point into Sigil Lethargy, and the rest are mostly Goatman and Demonic Mastery. Gear, very basic. I prioritized resistances and Magic Find most of all, or skills for weapons and offhand. As you can see, binded demons are persisting through sessions and even difficulties, so it really works like Iron Golem. Until the demon is alive, you can keep him as your pet. Never mind with Lister, he is a beast, but I want to check other possibilities, and I found a Goatman with Might Aura in Stonyfield and decided to go with that, as he will improve the damage of our party. But now I am thinking that possibilities to have great summons with something like Fanaticism or even Might, where I can still equip my mercenary with Rune Wars that can provide all the auras of the world. I found this giant sword with 4 open sockets, and you might be wondering, well, so what? So that does not matter that it is two-handed. With the Warlock I can still create spirit in this and wield it in one hand. Countess can provide me with missing runes that I need to get a couple of rune ward, especially aforementioned spirit, but I would lie if I say I am fishing only for that. This is a very easily available source of early game power that cannot be skipped. I took that giant sword I found and did my spirit, and I am almost positive that this is the first instance of something like this happening in the game. Nobody is doing spirit in two-handed swords, but hey, now it is completely viable, and I won't lie, this looks freaking sick. Also created a mandatory lore. For casters you just cannot go any better than this, and at this stage of the game. I did a couple more runs after that, and on one of them I found a set of Demon Hide gloves. Those are Horizon's Hold from new Warlock set. They seem to be targeted towards melee attackers, as they sport attack rating, massive flat fire damage, amazing 10% chance for crushing blow, some dexterity and life. Those last 3 things are making those a very nice and very viable contender for blood gloves. As you can see, I have 3 demons now. I invested a bit more in Demonic Mastery, but another funny interaction. You can bind Fallen Shaman that can revive the Fallen under the control of yours, although Fallens are not listed as yours and do not benefit from Deathmark's teleport. For a while I had a Shaman with Fanaticism and my goats were just running amok. But turns out that he can be really easily killed when he is facing Underreal directly. Oh well, I can just summon my guys whenever I want, so they can deal with her. She also dropped a unique amulet, Mahim Obscurio. I really like this one, especially on melee characters. It provides myriad of useful stats. Instantly I went into sewers, completely forgetting to change my mercenaries, but I will do that in a moment. There are so many abilities that I want to get or to reinforce, yet I still lack the points, so another one from Radament will be appreciated. He also dropped another set of Horizon's Hold. Talk about luck. Durga with Might Aura will allow me to get demons with something else, but still making a lot of very powerful. Although I must say that spamming Blood Boil is really taxing on demons, so even that build with 3 healing auras might be good. I specifically waited for this moment to take the next skill, Blade Warp. It throws an astral blade and it teleports Warlock on the impact, so it kind of works like teleport, but it has collision, so you cannot really skip the entire Maggot lair, but rather move through the packs along with the tunnels. Although it is not as good as teleport as it needs travel time and there is collision as I mentioned, you can skip some stuff like here, robbed in a broad daylight, and you can do this. Goatmen are just too good against bosses. Crushing Blow with Deathmark is just a death sentence at this point, especially that I have 3 of them and they are kind of hard to kill, even as they are slowed. Going through the jungle I found 2 bases that I wanted. One was for the body armor with 3 open sockets, and second was the helmet with 3 open sockets. Let's start with the helmet, and as I always say, this is one of my favorite rune words in the game, Bulwark. This is obviously for my mercenary so he can stay alive a bit longer, with that life leech, increased maximum life, life replenishment and double damage reduction. It's a perfect and very affordable tool to do so. Body armor will be for me. This is authority, and honestly I believe that this armor is a little bit too good for the requirements. It gives +2 to Warlock skills, faster hit recovery, enhanced damage, fire resistance, and 2 procs, 10% to cast level 15 Miasma Chain on striking, very good for melee attacker, and 2% to cast level 10 Psychic Ward when struck, giving me another layer of protection. Shortly after, a unique Gladius dropped for me, that is Bloodletter. Great weapon for aspiring melee characters, but it is especially targeted towards barbarians with those bonuses to Whirlwind and Blade Mastery. And later on in Lower Kurast, another great drop, this time a Lamrune, perfect for making smoke armor or splendor shield. I'm not going to bore you with the details how I got every single part of the quest to get to Mephisto. Instead, let me show you a council fight. Killed member here, killed member there, enslave Caleb Flaming Finger, because I can, and even get another amazing drop, a unique Cuirass Duriel Shell. My merc is getting stacked in this act. There is something poetic about corrupting the members of one's good council, then enlisting them to protect your domain, only for some idiotic guy enslaving one of them to defeat the very evil that brought them to ruin. Lord of Hatred dropped a set Demon Hide boots, Rite of Passage. This build is really getting its momentum going in this difficulty, and it shows. Not much can handle this amount of pressure. As you can see, Isual really did not much do to us. Shortly after, we dispatched a band of elites and one of them dropped a unique gauntlets, Frostburn. Great for that energy shield sorceress that wants to max out their energy pool. Going back yet again to Bind Demon. You can enslave Stygian Mother, or however they are called, and have a respawning pack of her monstrous children. And unlike Shaman, you don't need corpses of the fallen to get more. She's a one-stop shop. Oh, that is nice. If you have a Hellforge quest, Hephasto will drop the hammer when you bind him. And speaking of the forge, I've got an armor from it. One of my favorites. I'm sorry that I'm talking this much about one skill, but really it has so many uses and can be utilized in so many different playstyles that it is crazy. If they ever do that to another class, they should do Priest or Inquisitor and do similar thing for undead monsters. It would be equally amazing. Just imagine Lord the Says or Akmal the Curse doing your bidding. Just like poetic it was that Caleb was beating Mephisto in his own turn, it is equally great to have the Hellsmith beating down Diablo, and I must really give it to Sigil Lethargy. It is amazing against bosses. Lord of Destruction here is barely moving while getting a smackdown of his life. He dropped 2 uniques, and good ones at that. Unique Ceremonial Javelin, Titan's Revenge for those ultra angry javelin tossing Amazons, and unique Battle Boots, War Traveler. There are the greatest magic boots in the game. I will invest that strength to wear them as they are just too good to pass on. So far I am doing really good in terms of gear. I would say that even better than good. Really the only thing that I want at this point is better shield. But since I want to do either Splendor or Rhyme, I would need a codex with 2 open sockets, or find a white one and get sockets into it. So far I am not getting enough good bases to do so. Now it will be a good time to talk about last 2 skills I want to take in this run. Both are sigils. First one is Rancor, and it has 2 effects. It empowers anyone that steps in it to deal more damage and have increased attack speed, so you can boost the power of your monsters, and it can also enrage hostiles to attack one another, so it has a built-in crowd control component. Second sigil is Death. This is purely offensive. It kills off any enemy that has less than certain percentage of health, and it deals fire damage based on the enemy's health. So it does corpse explosion in the area, executing the enemies. If it really works like corpse explosion, then I am assuming it also deals physical damage aside from the fire. Every single sigil can be useful, and I believe at least one is always good for any kind of build. You are dealing with bosses, Lethargy to slow them down. You want to empower your minions or do some crowd control? Rancor. Death is amazing while clearing large parts of monsters. Just like corpse explosion, one body falls and dominoes fall. Balefight was sad, for him at least. He could not move thanks to Lethargy, and the only damage that was dealt to my demons was one of my own doing through spamming Blood Boil. He dropped 2 unique bows, Long Warbow that is Blast Bark, Exploding Arrow oriented for Amazon, and Long Battle Bow Wizendraw that fires magic arrows and it reduces enemies' cold resistance by substantial amount. I finished Nightmare with level 57, got enough strength to get War Travelers, and rest is Vitality. Got every seal, Blade Warp, I maxed out Demonic Mastery, and almost maxed out Goatman and Bind Demon, as those are ones that I am constantly using. Gear-wise, my Merc is missing a good weapon, otherwise he is fine. I have my Authority, Spirit and Lore, recent War Travelers, Mahim Obscurio and just some random rares or even magic items to boost resistances and Magic Find. Look, able to levitate any weapon in the game looks so cool, but imagine if they introduced a new weapon type, maybe not even a type, but how appropriate for this class would to have a whips in the game, like those Overseers in Act 5 that are whipping demons into submission. Speaking of weapons, I think it is a good time to bring a staple in all of the summoning builds. Edge is a rune word that can be created in missile weapons, and it provides level 15 Thorns Aura which returns damage back to attackers, with increased effectiveness. Aside from that, it also reduces all vendor prices, making it an amazing tool for shopping and gambling. There is one last thing I want to say about Bind Demon. As you can see at level 19, it gives you all the same things that it does on level 1, except damage and chance to bind is higher. But what the skill does not tell you is that every 5th level, binded demons are receiving additional affixes. So at level 5 of the spell, it is extra strong, level 10, extra fast, level 15, spectral hit, and level 20 it is aura enchanted, but skill is only telling you that once you have enough points put into it, as you can see on the screen. For that last one, it seems that aura is random. I tested that on different monsters, and on one time I got Fanaticism, other it was Holy Freeze. I'm assuming that there is a certain pool of those monsters can get, and I am all for that. It is amazing. That said, I was wondering, what if monster already has an aura? Can you get another one and stack 2 of them at the same time? Apparently not. I got this Fallen Shaman with Holy Freeze. Aura wasn't changed, nor any new was added. Enough of the skill talk, let's talk drops. Right before Monastery, a unique pair of Demon Hide boots drop. Those are Inferno Strides, which are very good if you need some more fire resistance, especially that they are also boosting maximum threshold of it. For Andariel, I got myself a Shaman with multiple shots and Cursed. So whole fight was just so short, I was actually astounded. Radament was very generous. Not only he got me another skill point, but also a unique swirling crystal that is Oculus. Sure, it is sorceress specific and it has that dash of the living on the edge in form of ability to cast teleport whenever struck. But otherwise it is just such a powerhouse of an item. Sorceress skills, faster cast rate, vitality and energy, resistances, magic find, even enhanced defense. Amazing weapon. As mentioned in previous difficulty, Maggot Lair is one of the worst places for summoner, and usually in hell I am either getting teleport stuff or very slowly getting through it. But here I am doing just physical and fire damage. Demons are getting pushed to the front with Deathmark, or if there are any physical immunes, I can just get Demon with Cursed modifier, so he can break it, making this an absolute joy. No, that's not it, making it less painful. There is one additional very nice interaction with Sigil Lethargy. It increases damage taken by the enemies, but it can also break their physical immunities. I know I have amplified damage here, but for a moment you can see that ghosts that are afflicted by the sigil do not have their immunity. Because Duriel didn't instantly vaporize upon the touch of my servants, I managed to use an edge bow for that additional thorns damage, and result is unsurprisingly great, but fight did last just a couple seconds more than Andariel. Man, it would be great to be able to bind those Ferned Hogs. They are imposing as hell and would be a menace on the battlefield. Although they are not the only ones with the frenzy and there are actual demons that can do the same, maybe even a bit better. My resistances are quite abysmal. This is mostly due to the fact that I am still missing some decent shield. But at this point I am being very careful not to get hit, and every time someone is getting close, I can use Sigil Lethargy to slow them, or Deathmark to completely block off the advances of the monsters. Really, I wanted to get some nice tome with good skills and make some good base out of it, but I cannot find it for the life of me, so I opted to do Rhyme in this Dragon Shield I found. Although I am losing +1 to demon skills, I am getting mana regeneration, resistances, cannot be frozen and some magic find in return. This should last until the end. Just before Mephisto, I found a pull rune in level 2 of Durance, and then on the armor rack, literally couple meters from the boss, set Sharkskin gloves drops. Those are Magnus skin from the Orphan Skull set, a very fun and great mid-game set. As for Lord of Hatred, if last 2 bosses fight showed you anything, is that the bosses are complete joke right now. I mean, there is nothing more to say. He dropped a Set War Scepter, Milabrega's Rod, and unique edge bow Sky Strike. For some reason this and my last Warlock run I was very lucky in terms of the drops. I don't know if they changed something or this is just fate, but I got another great drop in form of unique demon crossbow, Gut Siphon, with 33% piercing attack, massive damage, life leech, chance for open wounds and even target slow. Someday I will test bow/crossbow Warlock. Before I go to Diablo to ultimately end his life again, there is a matter of setting a score with Isual for another 2 skill points, and then killing Hephasto this time. I will let his soul fly, so the Hellforge can give me an Istrun, which is a very welcome sight. So just like in the last run I did a new Vigilance rune word, I decided that if life gives you lemons, let's create Coven rune word, East Ral Io. This helmet is not something that I really want for this build, and lore would completely suffice, but it gives +1 to all skills, some life after each kill, a bit of magic find, fire resistance, vitality, and it also has 5% chance to cast level 10 Sigil Lethargy when struck, so it is adding a defensive layer. What really differentiates this helm from others is that 20% faster cast rate. There is no other runeward helmet that gives you that, and Griffon's Eye Unique is famously known for being a very wanted piece of gear, sometimes only just for that, just to hit those breakpoints, so having a reliable source of it in this gear slot is very much appreciated. With all my might, new gear and great demon on the leash, we cleansed the sanctuary. Although, can you call it cleansing when demons are killing demons? Maybe something for a civil war or culling? Like Stratholm? They are in the wrong and I am right. I decided to give Diablo a fighting chance. I did not use Deathmark, Lethargy or even Edgebow. Results are still disappointing for Lord of Terror. By the time I hovered over his health, he was already way past his prime and shooting straight for the finish line of his death. This build is great. It really shows that when you have a game running for so long, you can design the class that can fit thematically and mechanically and yet spin it in a way that feels completely different from the other classes or even similar playstyles. In the early game, it is probably not the best way to start with it, as simply you don't have enough points to overwhelm your opponents and be absolutely safe, but by level 30 or 50, once you have 3 demons at the same time, oh baby, it is go time. It is worth mentioning that I really only used 1 demon seriously in this run, that is Goatman. Others are tailored towards fire-centric or magic-centric builds, but also for consume purposes to boost the damage of set damage types, which adds another layer of complexity to the class. Here consume was rather used only when I wanted to bind a different demon than the current one, and majority of my skill points went into reinforcing summons alone, so they can deal more damage and be a better bulwark for me against the evil. Skills like Deathmark, Blood Boil and Engorge are something that is sorely lacking from other classes. Ability to somewhat control the minions or deal damage through them, not only relying on them to passively do so feels amazing. In addition to that, you have Sigils, which partially feels like Necromancer curses, but you can have only one active at all at the time. Range is vastly limited and usage varies immensely, from debuffing opponents to turning them on each other to exploding their bodies, and there is also Blade Warp, which can help reposition you and your minions, but mostly I used it to make sure that Mercenary isn't left out of the fight and the traverse parts of the game. This build is extremely good at killing bosses too. Crushing Blow alone is enough to carry you through the most of the encounters, while Blood Boil is taking care of the packs, but if you are looking for summoning builds where you can just sit back and enjoy your hordes doing all the work while you do nothing, this is not it. There is a lot of moving parts here and lots of possibilities. I completed the playthrough with level 77, with majority of my attributes put into Vitality, I put just 1 point here and there to get the abilities. Maxed out Demonic Mastery, Summon Goatman and Bind Demon, while also putting points into Blood Oath, Blood Boil and Deathmark. Gear-wise, my Merc has Bulwark and Duriel Shell, and this free open socket Thresher which I did nothing with and completely missed it. I have my Spirit, Rhyme, Authority and Coven, as well as those beautiful War Traveler boots. I focused on skill points and survivability. This was great fun, try it out yourself, it is a completely different spin on Summoner. Thank you very much for watching. Like it if you like it, subscribe to my channel and stay tuned for more games and gaming challenges. Challenger departs.